You know, when we talk about, like, driving fast, there's usually a physical limit built into the human body.
Oh, absolutely. Like, your biology can only take so much.
Right, exactly. Like, you get onto a steep roller coaster and you feel that heavy, crushing pressure on your chest at the bottom of a loop. Those G-forces are just gravity and physics pushing back on you. And eventually your body actually starts to rebel.
Yeah, you just tap out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So usually when engineers build a race car, they have to build it around those fragile human limits.
Which makes sense.
But I mean, what if you didn't have to? What if you created a machine so extreme, like so completely unconstrained by real-world safety, that the driver would literally need to wear a fighter jet G-suit just to survive a corner?
I mean, that's the dream, isn't it?
Right, and that is the reality of the Red Bull X2019 competition. It is an engineering fever dream that completely breaks the rules of physics.
Shatters them.
It really does. And today, we are taking it to the one virtual track built specifically to exploit its biggest, most terrifying weakness. Welcome to another deep dive into Gran Turismo 7. I am your host, here to ask all the beginner questions and try to make sense of this insanity.
And I'm your resident car geek, ready to absolutely nerd out on the specs and history of this beautiful monster.
Awesome. So let's jump right in. We are talking about the Red Bull X2019 competition, which, I mean, just looking at it, it looks like a spaceship.
It really does. It's the absolute definition of pushing the boundaries of what's mechanically possible, even if, it's only possible in a digital space.
Right.
When we talk about this car in GT7, we aren't just talking about a fast car. We are dealing with a machine that fundamentally rewrites how you have to think about driving.
Okay, so break that down for me. What are we actually looking at here under the hood?
Well, just looking at the raw, high-level numbers, you have a classic MR,
which is mid-engine, rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, exactly, mid-engine, rear-wheel drive. But that is really where tradition completely ends with this thing. Yeah, so this body is incredibly, almost impossibly light. It sits at exactly 650 kilograms.
Wait, hold on. Let's just do the math on that for a second, because it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. 650 kilos.
Yeah.
That means this car weighs about the same as, like, a tiny vintage classic hatchback. Like a car you could practically push out of your driveway with one hand?
Literally, it is a featherweight frame. But mounted right in the middle of that tiny frame is a 3.0-liter naturally aspirated V12 engine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it pushes out 816 PS, which translates to about 804 horsepower.
In a 650 kilo car.
Yep. And it screams at a mind-bending 18,000 RPM.
That is just, so it has the weight of a classic Mini per horsepower of a modern multi-million-dollar hybrid car.
Exactly. It gives the X2019 a power-to-weight ratio of 0.8 kilograms.
That is completely absurd.
It really is. For context, most street-legal supercars are absolutely thrilled to hit 2 or 3 kilograms per horsepower.
Right.
Anything below 1 is just alien territory. And that's precisely why this car has no real-world production counterpart.
Because it would probably kill whoever drove it.
Basically, yeah. You will never see one sitting in traffic or even at a real-world track day. It was born purely as the ultimate virtual racing car.
Specifically designed for the FIA Gran Turismo Championships, right?
Exactly. It was built for the esports.
And for you listening at home, if you want to put this alien technology in your own digital garage, it's going to cost you 3 million credits in the game's brand central.
Which is not cheap.
No, not at all. Or, you have to earn it by getting all gold on your licenses, which is a massive test of precision all on its own.
Oh, for sure. Getting all gold is brutal.
But here's where the story of this car gets really fascinating to me. Usually when we look at these virtual concept cars like the Vision GT stuff, the whole philosophy is just to shatter speed records.
Right. Just go as fast as digitally possible.
Yeah, to make the fastest, stickiest, most ridiculous thing imaginable.
Yeah.
But looking through the development history in our sources for this deep dive, didn't the designers actually have to go in and intentionally hold this car back a little bit?
They did. They really did. And the evolutionary timeline of this machine explains exactly why they had to do that.
Okay, I'm listening.
So the X2019 competition didn't just appear out of thin air. It actually evolved from an earlier model called the X2014 standard.
Okay, the 2014.
Yeah, and the X2014 was exactly what you just described, an absolute, uncompromising speed demon.
Just glued to the track.
Exactly. It had so much downforce, generating so much artificial gravity, pushing it into the pavement, that it was basically untouchable.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me they took a digital engineering masterpiece A car totally unbound by real-world physics and intentionally made it worse.
Yep, they nerfed it.
But doesn't that completely defeat the purpose of an ultimate concept car? I mean, if you're building the fastest car ever, why are you artificially gimping its grip just to change how it drives?
Well, because fast doesn't always mean entertaining when it comes to racing against other people.
Oh, I see.
Right? Like the X2014 was incredible for a solo time trial. But the X2019 was redesigned specifically to be a better esports vehicle for the nation's Cup broadcast.
So it was about the viewer experience.
Exactly, because here is the mechanical reality, right? When you have a grid full of hyper-fast cars that heavily rely on aerodynamics, you create this massive problem called dirty air.
Dirty air, right?
Yeah, as a car violently punches a hole through the air at like 300 kilometers per hour, it leaves this turbulent, swirling weight behind it.
And if you're the guy behind it.
Right. If you're the driver trying to chase that car down and you drive into that turbulent weight, the air flowing over your wings is no longer smooth.
So you lose that laminar flow. So if your car relies entirely on the air to push it down into the track, and suddenly that air is just swirling and disrupted, you just lose your grip entirely.
Exactly. Your downforce just vanishes in a split second, and you go sliding off into the gravel.
Oh man, that sounds so frustrating.
It was. It meant that in esports tournaments, close, exciting, side-by-side racing was practically impossible. It was just a procession of cars driving really fast, but staying super far apart to avoid each other's dirty air.
Right. Which makes for a pretty boring broadcast.
Exactly. So to fix this for the audience, the developers intentionally neutered the car's aerodynamics.
Wow.
Yeah, they altered the front wing and completely restyled the rear end to drastically reduce its dependency on aero downforce. They even changed the shape of the wheel covers. Just to allow for more rapid tire changes during pit stops, it forces more strategic racing.
Okay, that is super cool. But taking away that invisible hand of the wind comes with a massive penalty,
A
right?
huge penalty.
Because it's not just a minor loss of grip. I mean, the sources mentioned the setup easily induces massive oversteer.
Massive oversteer.
So hold on, for those of us just getting into track driving, what exactly is happening when you say oversteer here?
Right, so oversteer is basically when the rear tires lose their grip before the front tires do.
Okay.
So it causes the back of the car to want to violently overtake the front, swinging out like a giant pendulum.
Oh, wow. Usually oversteer is something you can catch if you're quick on the wheel,
Yeah.
right? Maybe even feather it out and drift a little.
In a normal car, yeah. But when you don't have heavy downforce pinning those rear wheels to the ground anymore, any sloppy input on the accelerator means the back end will instantly snap out.
And with a 650 kilo car pushing over 800 horsepower to those rear wheels, an oversteer snap isn't a sun slide you can drift through.
No, not at all. It's an instant death sentence for your lap time. You are facing the wrong way in a cloud of tire smoke before you even know what happened.
That sounds mentally exhausting, like you are constantly on a knife's edge.
It is a constant, terrifying threat.
And looking at the powertrain, they didn't exactly make it easy on the driver with the engine swap either.
No, they made it harder.
Yeah. Because to get that classic high-pitched racing scream, they swapped out the 2.0-liter turbo engine from the older model and dropped in this 3.0-liter naturally aspirated V12.
Returning to a conventional throttle mechanism, yeah. And I mean, the sound alone is a sensory masterpiece.
I bet.
It's that ear-piercing, shrieking wail of a purebred race car revving to 18,000 RPM. But mechanically, swapping from a turbo to a naturally aspirated V12 drastically changes the power delivery.
Because a naturally aspirated engine doesn't have turbo lag.
Exactly. The power is immediate.
Which sounds great on paper, but if you have a car that already wants to kill you with snap oversteer, giving it instant violent power delivery the exact millisecond you touch the pedal seems like a terrible idea.
It makes the car incredibly peaky. Like, the torque hits so hard and so fast that pro players actually had to invent a specific technique just to survive low-speed corners without spinning out.
Ah, the famous third gear trick.
Yes, the third gear trick. Basically, in a low-speed corner where you would normally drop down into a first or second gear to get the best acceleration out of it.
Right, to get the revs up.
Exactly. Well, the pros will literally force the transmission to stay in third gear, or sometimes even higher.
That is wild. But I guess if you think about the mechanics of gear ratios, it made sense. It's like trying to pedal a bicycle from a dead stop while you're in top gear.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's incredibly hard to get the wheels to turn quickly. So by staying in third or fourth gear, pro players are using the transmission to act as like a physical muzzle on that V12.
That is a perfect way to visualize it. You are intentionally bogging the engine down.
So the rear tires don't instantly vaporize into smoke the second they touch the gas.
Right, you're artificially diluting the torque multiplication just to survive the corner exit. It forces you into this delicate surgical throttle control where you are managing traction with microscopic foot movements.
That is insane. Oh, and speaking of the finer details of this car, I read there is a fantastic little Easter egg hidden in GT7 for the true purists.
Oh yeah, the 25th anniversary edition.
Yeah. Alongside the standard model, there is a special version of the X2019 that features a really unique canopy grating.
It's gorgeous. And the crazy thing is, you can't even sell it in the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a special, unsellable model exclusive to a one-make racing. I just love that level of detail.
Me too. But I mean, this brings us to a really interesting crossroads.
Okay, where to?
So we have a car that fundamentally wants to spin out at low speeds. It's powered by a hair trigger V12, and its rear wheels are just begging to lose traction.
Yep, that's the X2019.
So that begs the question, how do you design a track that actually makes racing this thing entertaining rather than just a frustrating crash fest?
Oh, that is the million-dollar question. And the answer is, you take it to a place that will exploit every single one of its engineering vulnerabilities while giving it just enough room to stretch its legs and reach that 18,000 RPM limit.
Oh man.
You take it to Italy, specifically to a track called Sardegna Road Track A.
Oh, I love this track. Let's set the scene for you listening, because the visual contrast here is amazing.
Yes, it really is.
Imagine your virtual surroundings. You're in Sardinia, Italy. It is this gorgeous Mediterranean resort island. You've got sun-baked cobblestone streets, bright sunshine, lush greenery, and these stunning coastal views looking out over the sparkling blue water.
It's paradise.
Yeah. It looks like the perfect place to sit at a cafe and drink an espresso, not wrestle an 800 horsepower spaceship.
It is the ultimate juxtaposition. So, Sardegna Road Track A is a pure Gran Turismo original street course, and we should probably clarify something here.
Oh, but the dirt track.
Right, because Gran Turismo has another track called Windmills that also carries the Sardegna name, but that one is a dirt rally style course.
Okay, good to know. So Road Track A is pure tarmac.
Exactly. Pure paved street circuit running right through the resort. And while there are 3 different layouts, A, B, and C layout A is the longest. It's the full course layout, coming in at exactly 5.113 kilometers.
Wow, okay, so at over 5 kilometers, it has some real distance to it. How is the layout actually structured?
Well, it packs 15 corners and 38 meters of elevation change into that lap.
That's a lot of up and down.
Yeah, so you are constantly climbing, dipping, and weaving through this resort town, surrounded by unforgiving walls.
Sounds claustrophobic in a car that fast.
It is, but the defining feature of this track, the thing that turns it from a scenic drive into an absolute monster, is the main straightaway. You are looking at a massive 915-meter straight. That is nearly a full kilometer of pure, uninterrupted acceleration.
Wow, I can just imagine the sound of a dozen V12 engines echoing off those resort buildings.
It's deafening in the best way.
And with the straightaway that long, it's all about slipstream battles, right? Like cars teching in right behind each other, drafting to punch a hole in the air and gain that extra top speed before the braking zone.
Oh, it is glorious high-speed chaos. You are hurtling down that straightaway, maximizing every single ounce of that 816 horsepower.
Right.
But then, at the end of those 915 meters, the straight abruptly ends. And you have to find the absolute perfect clipping point at turn 1.
Whoa, back up a second clipping point. Like, I know I want to make the turn, but what exactly am I clipping?
Oh, right. So the clipping point, or the apex, is basically the innermost point of a corner. It's the spot a driver aims to literally kiss with their tires to carry the maximum possible speed through the turn.
Ah, okay, so you want to trace the straightest possible arc.
Exactly. But at the end of a 915-meter straight, in a car this volatile, you aren't just aiming for a normal racing line.
You're trying to thread a needle while riding a missile.
Exactly. Missing that apex by a fraction of an inch doesn't just mean a slow lap. It means you slide right off the course or dive bomb straight into the side of another car.
Yikes. So turn 1 is basically a massive crash magnet.
A huge crash magnet. It requires such incredibly heavy braking after such extreme speeds. It is the ultimate overtaking spot, which means players get desperate.
Oh, I've been there.
Right. They try to brake a fraction of a second later than the car next to them. They miss their braking marker, completely blow past the clipping point, and cause a huge pileup.
That is brutal. And the sources for our deep dive mentioned something truly terrifying about this layout, too.
Oh, the reverse layout.
Yes. Gran Turismo allows you to race this track in reverse, and when you do, the danger level spikes exponentially.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Because the entire flow of the track is flipped.
Right, if you run Sardegna Road Track A in reverse, the original final corner, which you normally approach at a relatively moderate speed, suddenly becomes turn 1. And you are hitting it at the very end of that 915-meter straight. It becomes this blindingly fast, high-speed bend where the walls literally look like they're closing in on you.
The margin for error basically drops to absolute zero.
Okay, so let's piece the mechanics of this together. We have a 915-meter straightaway, which is the perfect environment for an 18,000 RPM V12 to stretch its legs and reach its maximum velocity.
Yep, it loves that straight.
But that straightaway ends in a brutal, heavy braking zone that immediately forces you into low-speed, tight resort corners. And low-speed, tight corners are the exact type of environment the X2019 absolutely hates and struggles with because of its peaky engine and total lack of rear downforce.
You nailed it. Which brings us to the absolute brilliance of why these two are paired together.
Okay, let's hear it.
So there's a fantastic piece of trivia that ties this entire deep dive together. The Red Bull X2019 Competition and Sardegna Road Track A are actually classmates.
Wait, so they were released together?
Literally released on the exact same day.
No way. That means this isn't just a happy accident where a hard car met a hard track.
Not at all. They were both introduced to Gran Turismo Sport in Update 1.4, which dropped in June of 2019. They were practically made for each other by the developers.
That is so cool.
And because of that synergy, they are heavily featured together in official GT events, like the GT World Series World Finals and the in-game X2019 Nations Cup Endurance Race.
See, this is the real aha moment for me. In virtual racing, we usually assume developers are just trying to simulate reality as perfectly as possible.
Right, just make it realistic.
But here, they didn't just simulate reality. They actively manufactured flaws in the car, like intentionally neutering the rear aero, and then built a track, released in the exact same update, designed specifically to relentlessly exploit those exact flaws.
It is brilliant game design.
It really is. They engineered the instability just to create broadcast-friendly esports drama. It's not about making the perfect car. It's about making the perfect crucible for human error.
And let me tell you, driving this combo is pure sensory overload.
I can only imagine.
I want you to picture the physics happening in the cockpit. You are flying down that 915 meters straight. You are doing well over 300 kilometers per hour. The V12 is howling. The bright blue Mediterranean Sea is flashing by in your peripheral vision. You are at the absolute mechanical limit. And then the straightaway ends.
Right, time to brake.
You have to slam on the brakes for those tight resort corners. And when you do that, you have to manage massive, violent weight transfer.
Weight transfer, okay, that sounds intense. Is that just like the car dipping forward when I slam the brakes at 300 kilometers?
Basically, yes. We all know weight transfer is brutal under heavy braking, but let's actually think about the math of that for a second.
Oh my God.
When you have a 650 kilogram object hurtling forward at 300 kilometer and you smash the brake pedal, all of that kinetic energy doesn't just vanish.
Right, it has to go somewhere.
It shifts violently to the front suspension, meaning the front tires are suddenly bearing almost all of that weight, pressing down hard into the tarmac.
Which must leave the rear end feeling like it's completely hovering on ice.
Exactly. Now you see the trap the developer set. Because all the weight just shifted forward, the rear end of the car becomes dangerously light.
Oh man.
There is hardly any weight pushing the rear tires into the ground anymore. So you have a car that is already engineered to lack rear aerodynamic downforce.
Right.
You have an engine that delivers immediate violent torque. And you put it on a track where you are forced to brake harder than almost anywhere else, physically lifting the rear end of the car.
It is the perfect storm for a spinner.
It really is. You are combining the car's most terrifying mechanical tendency with the track's hardest braking zone.
It truly is a crucible. You have to be so incredibly precise with how you let off the brake and how you turn the wheel, or the back end is just going to overtake the front instantly.
And that is before you even get to the apex.
Oh, right, because once you hit that clipping point, you have to start accelerating again.
Yep, short shifting into third gear just to keep the rear wheels from lighting up and spinning you into a 15th century cobblestone wall.
It just sounds so stressful, but also amazing.
It truly is the pinnacle of Gran Turismo's original entertainment. The developers engineered this incredibly delicate, terrifying dance of absolute throttle control and married it to glorious, screaming high-speed bursts.
It forces the driver to master both environments.
Exactly. You can't just be good at high speed, and you can't just be good at cornering. You have to master the transition between the two.
Managing the weight transfer, fighting the oversteer, and respecting the raw, unfiltered power of that V12. I just marvel at the visual contrast of it all. You have this lush, relaxed, sun-drenched Italian scenery serving as the backdrop. It looks like a pristine postcard.
Yeah, it's so peaceful.
And cutting through that postcard is this aggressive, dark, hyper-tense, futuristic esports machine that is just holding onto the pavement by a single frame thread. It is such a brilliant juxtaposition.
It really is. It elevates Gran Turismo from just being a driving simulator to being a digital motorsport creator. I mean, there's always so much more happening beneath the surface of these virtual machines than just polygons and speed records.
Absolutely. Well, this has been an incredibly eye-opening look at what happens when digital engineering meets a digital paradise. Thank you so much for breaking down the incredible physics and history of this pairing.
Oh, anytime. It was a blast.
And thank you to you, the listener, for joining us on this high-speed deep dive. But before we go, we'll leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Ooh, all right.
We've just explored a car that requires a G-suit, in theory, screaming down a track, perfectly designed to exploit its one major engineered weakness. Makes you wonder, as virtual physics engines become increasingly indistinguishable from reality, will the most legendary, character-defining race cars of the next generation be born in a physical factory or entirely in line with code?
That's a great question.
Something to think about. Until next time, keep your eyes on the apex.